Welcome to this deep dive. Today we're focusing entirely on a specific set of sources you've shared, all zeroing in on these foundational AI trends that are, well, really reshaping things right now.
Yeah, and our goal is to sort of cut through the noise, pull out the most important insights from this material for you, and help you get up to speed quickly and thoroughly on what's really happening.
Exactly. And the main takeaway, the thread running through all these sources, things just seem to be changing faster than ever in AI. We're seeing unprecedented growth, unprecedented shifts.
Definitely. That sense of acceleration is everywhere in the material.
And it covers a lot of ground user growth, the massive infrastructure build-out, competition, AI moving into the physical world, how work is changing, even, geopolitics. It's broad.
It really is a sweeping view of a field just absolutely in hyperdrive.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Where should we start? Maybe with that core idea. The speed. It just feels faster, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the sources seem to agree.
They do. They draw some interesting comparisons, like the global internet user ramp-up was huge, obviously, but AI seems to be driving growth differently from the very beginning.
How so?
Well, take ChatGPT. The sources call its launch the biggest overnight success for a standalone product, right? Even though OpenAI was 9 years old. But the key thing was it went global instantly.
Ah, right. Not like the internet slowly rolling out region by region.
Exactly. It hit the world stage all at once. That kind of simultaneous worldwide impact for a new technology category, that felt different.
And that speed isn't just users clicking buttons. It's mirrored in the sheer investment infrastructure going up.
Oh, absolutely. The sources stress this. AI user growth, usage growth, and the capital expenditure, the CapEx. It's all happening at rates we just haven't seen before.
You mean the hyperscalers, like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud?
Yeah, exactly. They're pouring billions, literally billions, into specialized chips, GPUs, TPUs, and things like advanced liquid cooling systems, massive new data centers.
That's where that quote comes in, right? Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, calling them AI factories.
It's a perfect analogy. And
Yeah.
the speed they're building these factories, it's kind of wild. The sources mention xAI's Colossus facility, built in 122 days.
122 days. Wow. How does that compare?
Well, the sources put it next to the median time to build a standard house in the U.S., which is 234 days.
Okay, so building a massive data center faster than an average home, that really puts the speed in perspective. You say, well, it's breakneck.
It is. But all these factories, they need a lot of power.
Right, the energy demand, I saw that mentioned.
Yeah, it's climbing rapidly. Global data center electricity use has basically tripled in about 19 years, from 2005 to 2024. And the U.S. is leading that consumption.
And it's that Jevons paradox thing, isn't it? Like the hardware gets more efficient, but we just use it so much more that overall consumption goes up anyway.
Precisely. Efficiency gains are getting swamped by the sheer increase in usage.
So explosive growth, users, investment, build speed, energy use. Okay. What about the technology itself? The sources talk about model performance converging.
Yeah, that's another key trend. If you look at standard benchmarks like MMLU or leaderboards like the LMSYS chatbot arena where users rank models, the top models are scoring much closer together now.
Meaning high-end performance isn't just limited to one or two players anymore.
Kind of, yeah. It suggests the cutting edge is becoming more accessible, or at least more companies are reaching that top tier of performance.
And what about the cost? Because training these things is famously expensive.
It is. Training costs are high, even rising for the biggest models, but and this is crucial, the sources point out that the inference cost, the cost per token to actually use the model once it's trained, that's falling.
Okay, so cheaper to run, even if it's expensive to build.
Exactly. And that drop in usage cost is what really drives adoption. It fits this pattern the sources call tech's perpetual AHA.
Perpetual AHA.
Yeah, this idea that declining costs plus improving performance equals rising adoption. We saw it with computer hardware costs falling, leading to the PC revolution and the internet boom. Now, the sources argue we're seeing it with AI compute costs, especially inference costs, coming down relative to IT spending.
Which leads to developers jumping in.
Absolutely. Look at the Stack Overflow data cited. Developers using AI tools went from 44% in 2023 to 63% in 2024. That's a huge jump in 1 year.
63%, wow.
In the sheer volume. Google's monthly tokens processed apparently went from 10 trillion to 480 trillion in just the year between May 24 and May 25.
Wait, did you say 480
It's
trillion?
trillion, yeah. It's almost hard to grasp the scale. Microsoft Azure AI Foundry saw a 5x jump in token processing year over year in early 2025, hitting over 100 trillion tokens quarterly.
So developers aren't just kicking the tires, they're using this stuff intensely. How are they using it?
All sorts of ways, according to the sources, citing IBM data, generating code, finding and fixing bugs, automating tests, writing documentation, security tasks, DevOps workflows. It's becoming embedded.
Like essential tooling, not just a novelty.
Right. It's moving from a cool extra to like core infrastructure for building software.
Okay. And this idea of AI doing actual work leads nicely into the next big shift the sources highlight, moving from chatbots to AI agents.
Yes, this is a really fascinating evolution. So traditional chatbots, they mostly respond to prompts, right? Generate text, answer questions.
What?
Agents, though, as described here, are designed to act. They can reason, plan steps, interact with other software, and actually complete tasks autonomously based on natural language requests.
It's not just telling me how to do something, but potentially doing it, like booking a meeting or submitting that report you mentioned.
Exactly that. Logging into tools, orchestrating workflows, pulling data together, taking actions. The sources use a good analogy. Think about the web. We went from static pages, just information,
Right, like digital brochures.
to dynamic web apps like Gmail or Google Maps, things you used to do stuff. The sources argue agents are turning conversational AI into that kind of functional, active infrastructure.
Turning chat into capability. I like that. Is there much interest?
Seems like it. Global Google searches for AI agent apparently jumped over a 1,088% in the 16 months leading up to May 2025.
1,000%. Okay, people are definitely looking for this.
And companies are launching products too. The sources mention Salesforce Agentforce, Anthropic's Claude 3.5 having computer use features, Amazon Nova Act, OpenAI's operator concept. They're explicitly building systems to take action.
So the digital side is moving towards AI doing tasks. But the sources also say the momentum in the physical world is maybe even more head-turning.
Yeah, that was a strong phrase they used. But the examples are pretty compelling. It's about embedding this intelligence into machines and operations out in the real world.
Like self-driving cars.
That's a prime example. The sources note Tesla's fully self-driven miles shot up about 100x in under 3 years, up to early 2025. And Waymo grabbed over a quarter of the rideshare market in San Francisco in less than 2 years.
So really deploying at scale now, not just tests.
Right. And it's not just transport. In mining, they mentioned cobalt metals using AI, their machine prospector, to analyze geology data and try to find mineral deposits more efficiently, trying to reverse that trend of finding less per dollar spent.
Using AI for better exploration. What about farming?
Agriculture had a carbon robotics laser weeder. It uses AI and computer vision to spot weeds in fields and zap them with lasers autonomously.
Zap them with lasers. Seriously.
Seriously. Saves labor and, crucially, avoids spraying herbicides everywhere. They'd apparently weeded over 230,000 acres by mid-2025.
Okay, those are tangible examples. Driving cars, finding minerals, weeding fields. This definitely brings us to how work itself is changing. The sources say AI is fundamentally reshaping it.
They're quite blunt about it. There's a perspective from Shopify included basically saying if businesses don't use AI, they'll just stagnate.
Cagamade, wow.
Yeah, and Shopify apparently now considers using AI a fundamental expectation. They look for it when hiring, in performance reviews. It's not optional anymore for them.
That's a big shift. Does the job market data back this up?
It seems to. The sources cite U.S. data showing AI job postings up nearly 450% over 7 years to early 2025, while non-AI IT jobs actually fell 9%.
Fell by 9%, while AI jobs rocketed.
And specific AI-related job titles grew 200% in just 2 years. It really points to a changing demand for skills.
And that NVIDIA quote comes up again, doesn't it? You won't lose your job to AI, but to someone using AI.
Exactly. It reframes it as augmentation, needing to adapt. And there's even a potentially positive angle on labor shortages mentioned.
Ooh, how so?
The idea that AI could help bring maybe 30 or 40 million workers back into the global workforce, perhaps by increasing productivity or enabling new roles, potentially boosting global GDP. So not just replacement, but maybe expansion too.
Interesting perspective. Okay, so it meant speed, scale, improving tech, agents doing work, physical world impact, work transformation. Given all that, competition must be intense.
Fierce, absolutely. The sources point to rising competition everywhere. Open source is a factor, but the geopolitical angle is huge.
The AI space race, I saw that comparison.
Oh, Yeah, Andrew Bosworth from Meta and others are quoted drawing parallels to the US-Soviet space race, but now focused on AI, particularly between the US and China. The underlying idea in the sources is that leadership in AI could really mean geopolitical leadership down the line.
And China is accelerating.
According to the sources, yes, significantly. They mention Chinese models like DeepSeek and Baidu's Ernie getting really competitive on benchmarks, plus a big push towards using local chips like from Huawei for more self-sufficiency.
Harder independence.
Right. And they also note China already has more industrial robots installed than the rest of the world combined as of 2023, so deep integration into manufacturing.
It's a race on multiple fronts. Models, chips, deployment. What about open source in this mix?
It's playing a massive role. Mark Zuckerberg's prediction, cited in the sources, was that 2025 would be the year open source models become dominant for developers.
And the adoption numbers support that.
Seems so. Meta's Llama model downloads hit 1.2 billion by April 2025, and the number of models on Hugging Face just exploded up 33 times between early 2022 and late 2024.
That just pours fuel on the fire, right?
Yeah.
Democratizes access, lets more people build and innovate.
Exactly. It lowers barriers, brings in more players, likely speeds things up even more.
Okay, last major theme. The sources connect all this AI stuff to the evolution of how we access knowledge itself.
Yeah, they put it in historical context. Like the printing press around 1440 gave us static physical knowledge distribution. The internet, starting around 93, made it active and digital. You could search and pull information.
Right.
Now, generative AI, kicking off really with ChatGPT in 2022, makes it active, digital, and generative. It doesn't just find info, it synthesizes, summarizes, creates. The sources call that public launch of Gen AI, AI's iPhone moment.
An iPhone moment.
Yeah.
Meaning it made complex tech suddenly usable and intuitive for everyone, unlocking new possibilities.
That's the idea. And
Yeah.
it leads to a really interesting point about the future user, especially for people not yet online.
The 2.6 billion people still offline.
Yeah. For them, the sources suggest their first real digital interaction might not be a browser or a search engine. It might just be talking to an AI agent in their own language.
Asking questions, getting answers, maybe getting tasks done without the traditional web interface.
Potentially completely leapfrogging the existing tech stack we're used to. The intelligence becomes the interface.
Wow. Okay, so pulling it all together from these sources,
Yeah.
we've got this picture of truly unprecedented speed and scale, technology improving rapidly while becoming cheaper to use, this shift to AI agents that could do things, real impact in the physical world, work fundamentally changing, and this intense global race reshaping even how we interact with knowledge. It's a lot.
It really is a period of incredibly fast, broad transformation happening all at once.
So considering this picture, the rapid pace, the broad impact, the potential for AI to become as embedded in our lives as, say, the internet, the final thought these sources leave us with is, how might you adapt or maybe leverage these shifts in your own work, your own life? Thank you for joining us today. We're here to share insights and ideas. Your support means everything. If today's discussion sparked an idea or helped you, let us know. Drop us a line, leave a review, and visit agentfarm.com for more tools and insights. Until next time, stay inspired.